All right, folks. So businesses can choose anywhere to open up their doors, but time and time again, they find themselves in Livonia to open up shop and thrive. Today, we're going to learn more about why that is with Livonia Westland Chamber President Dan West. First off, Dan, I know who you are. I kind of know some of your background, but I don't know if our viewers do. So will you share with us kind of your Livonia story, kind of how you got to now the desk that you sit at being the president of the chamber?
I grew up in Northwest Detroit. My dad worked at the Farmer Jack grocery warehouse in Detroit. At age 13, my family moved out to Livonia, into the Clement Circle neighborhood. Okay. My parents still live there today. I went from St. Peter and Paul Catholic Elementary School to Emerson Middle School in the middle of my 7th grade year.
A little culture shock, man.
That was quite the culture shock. You go from a Catholic school uniform to rock shirts and jeans all of a sudden. So it was quite the thing, and just you'll get a kick out of this because my parents, with that Catholic school background, still made me dress up to go to school 2 days a week. I earned the nickname in middle school Spiff.
All right.
So that was what I did. So I went on to Franklin High School. There, I did my studies, but I also worked on a student newspaper and played baseball there. Went to Wayne State University, got my degree in journalism, and ended up working at a small newspaper, first job out of college in St. Ignace, Michigan. You talk about small town and figuring things out. When you start covering library board meetings and school board committee meetings and stuff like that to find news, you really learn what a community is about.
Pretty granular.
Yes, exactly. But that's where you went to go find news and stuff like that. So did that for 3 years. I actually covered Mackinac Island for a year, the tourism industry, the tribe politics with the casino and stuff like that, which is quite interesting and stuff like that. And then everything to do with an island with the boat ferries and stuff like that, which was really interesting. My next job out of that was the Adrian Daily Telegram. Worked at a daily for 2 years. Was hired by the Observer-centric newspapers in 1999. A few months later, I met my wife, Amy. She was a teacher at West Bloomfield High School. I was covering that community. So we met, and then a couple years later, we got married. And then our first home after we got married in 2001 was in Livonia, 6 Mile Middlebelt area. And then since then we moved to the 7 Mile Newburgh area. But we raised 2 daughters. Janie graduated from Stevenson in 22. Nayli graduated from Stevenson last year. They're both in college now. My wife was a high school teacher. And my brother's family and his 4 kids are in the 5 Mile Newburgh area. So we're a solid 3-generation Livonia family right now. So.
Excellent.
And then this job, believe it or not, I've been in this job 20 years now, which blows my mind away. I've been in this job for 20 years. Right? But I left the newspaper industry knowing just where that industry was going, unfortunately. Right. But the communications background is very helpful for this. What I tell people all the time, in journalism, you identify an issue, do a story about it. As a chamber guy, you identify an issue, do a program on it. And that's what we've tried to do for the last 20 years.
And we've talked before about how lacking a local paper of record definitely is a detriment. But one thing I know the chamber does a great job is getting the news out and kind of the advertisements for new companies that are coming in, grand openings, re-grand openings. So there's a lot of really exciting things happening right now. What developments, I guess, are you guys here most excited about that we currently have going up or coming in?
There's a lot of stuff going on in the 6 Mile I-275 area.
Yes, there is.
A lot of stuff, and it's quite amazing. It started with 10 years ago. They built that Holiday Inn Hotel at 6 Mile on the east side of 275. And in the past year, that Holiday Inn had a banquet hall. They got rid of the banquet hall. They built the Cooper Hawk, which just opened this winter. Capital Grille is going to open in the next couple months. And then they're going to build an extended stay hotel on that property as well. So that is 4 properties onto that. So that's exciting. On the other side of 275, you have what was the old Comerica Bank check processing center that got leveled. They kept the parking structure there, but they have the Whole Foods store. You can see that it's under construction right now. A 7,000 square foot financial planning office is going to be built there. They plan to build apartments there, and then a strip center where they're going to have like a Starbucks and some other things coming on. And they're supposed to build an exercise gym there too as well. So you look at that, that'll be like a lifestyle center right there. And then you go down Haggerty Road. They just opened the Nino Savaggio. And then I'm just intrigued with, obviously these guys know what they're doing better than I do, but to have Trader Joe's, Nino Savaggio, Cantoro's, and Whole Foods, all within 2 miles of each other. Obviously, they like the traffic of Schoolcraft. Of Haggerty Road right there by Schoolcraft.
Well, and you've got the culinary program at Schoolcraft, and it's such a great draw. You have a multi-community draw in that area. Obviously, it's going to service Livonia great, but then you'll pull in some Plymouth and some Northville and Novi and even Farmington Hills, because those are, especially the Nino Savaggio. I mean, that's a destination shopping center, right?
It truly is. It's the fifth one they've opened up. I think the original one opened up in '79. Still the original family that's involved with it. Another underrated part of Schoolcraft College is that they become quite a youth sports hub. They have a facility where they have volleyball tournaments and gymnastics tournaments. With the one facility they built a couple years ago, they've got the dome and the soccer fields that the Hawks and Wolves use. So you have all that traffic for games and tournaments and such. That brings a lot of traffic to that area as well. So Schoolcraft and everything around there, that just adds to the demand for the services that are in that area.
What a tremendous asset. So now, as we're kind of looking forward, what is it about the Livonia community, whether it's now 1, 3, 5 years, that creates such an attractive environment for businesses of seemingly all types to come here?
There's two things that are attractive about Livonia. I was told a few years ago that everyone within Metro Detroit, Southeast Michigan, wants to be as close as possible to the I-96, I-275 interchange. And why is that? That's like in the middle of everything.
Right.
You got a lot of people that maybe live west of there, but work east of there. So people that shop, doctors, offices, stuff like that, they want to be as close to that as possible. So you have that inertia going there. Additionally, I talked about all the stuff at 6 Mile and 275. That freeway exit is one of the most traveled freeway exits in the state of Michigan.
Wow.
And that draws a lot of attention and a lot of interest in that area. So, I mean, you look at not just the Livonia side, but also the Plymouth and Northville side, a lot of stuff's under construction. So if you look up and down the totality of Haggerty Road, and I've been seeing this for years, it's the premier dining corridor. You've got all these restaurants, and I know that Bravo just shut down, but something's going to go in there pretty quickly. We just opened the new restaurants on 6 Mile right there. The stuff on the Northville side, there's a lot of restaurants right there, and that adds to the traffic and why stores and then housing and all that stuff want to be there. There's a lot of energy and excitement right there. And when you add what they're doing at Northville Downs for homes and shopping right in downtown Northville right there, it is quite a very active hub right here in northwestern Wayne County.
So now, obviously, a lot of really exciting things happening, and it's not the business community and commercial real estate is not without its problems. And something that a lot of community members have identified is some of the vacant and blighted spaces. I know the Chamber of Commerce can't force anyone to do anything with it, but what do you see as some pragmatic solutions to get, your House of Denmarks and Sears being the two biggest eyesores with some smaller things around? But what is a real plan? What is something that can actually create some change and light a fire under those property owners?
There's been stories written about this because, obviously the retail landscape was struggling a decade ago, and then COVID just made it worse.
Right.
Obviously, the way we shop, we buy stuff online more than ever before, which reduces the need for retail. So it's not like there's a lot of competition for retail spots right now, which also complicates it. But here's the deal, is that when you own a property, you are able to legally do whatever the zoning and the basic rules allow. And so when you look at these long-term vacant properties, it's frustrating for the neighbors that live around there. But for a lot of these people, there's no holding. A lot of people just want to hold on to property.
Right.
And they hold on to it. They're looking for a pot of gold magically one day for it. That's probably beyond what the market value is for it. But to them, holding on to it and taking the tax depreciation and write-off from it works for them in the time being. And a lot of people that own property do that. Now, what the city could do with that is potentially strengthen their rules as far as, that lead up to condemnation or fining them or what have you. I read in some of the shopping malls in northwestern part of the country, I think it was in Massachusetts, that they're actually fining them every day they don't violate, every day you don't approve it. And this one property's accumulated like $1 million in debt, and they're in court over it. And I think that might be a test case to what municipalities can do with underutilized properties. In the end, the city needs to find a way to disincentivize people just sitting on properties. Is there a blight tax we could look at? These are things that, you know, city councils and state government and stuff can look at, but ultimately those are the types of things you have to look at or without trying to just local leaders to encourage property owners to do something.
Well, and that's something that I want to help the viewers understand too. This is not a Livonia specific issue. We have moved commerce so far online that your large retail brick and mortars are not doing great. Even some of your niche stores. I mean, we look at even just into one of our neighboring communities and one that the chamber is now part of. You know, Westland Mall. I mean, I understand they're kind of struggling trying to figure out what's next for that property, right?
Yeah, the city has been eager. They've had a couple tentative deals, but the company that owns Westland Mall continues to hold out. To my understanding, they spent a lot of money for the property 10 years ago, which obviously really went down in value. They're asking for the money that they paid in 10 years ago to sell it today, and this is not what the market bears right now. And what happened in Westland, they're really eager to move on that Westland Mall property because they just built Lincoln Square and Amphitheater,
which is beautiful.
It's an outdoor park. It opens up this spring. They did a wonderful job putting that together. It's designed for outdoor concerts, outdoor performances, food truck, social gatherings, stuff like that. And it's right across the street from Westland Mall. The city of Westland would love to put a combination of stores, restaurants, bars, and apartments right there and make that a young professional hub for entertainment and walking around and having a good time and enjoying that part of their lives and stuff like that. And that's what Westland's positioned to do, but they need Westland to move. And right now, I just don't know what it takes to get these property owners, especially these with these huge portfolios nationwide. It's not a big deal. They're just going to wait for the pot of gold, and unfortunately, the communities kind of suffer waiting for whatever's going to happen.
But it's not easy to try and bully the proverbial bully, right? Moving forward, looking at what could be some new developments, do you have any kind of ear to the ground tidbits on what some exciting things that may kind of be in the hopper in the near future as far as developments or maybe some new land opening up, anything like that?
Well, right now, I mean, we the 7 Mile Farmington area in the last year, the Meyer grocery store is going to open up later this spring. The Scooters Coffee open up right there. Bacon Dip, which is going to be an ice cream shop and bakery right next to the Scooters. That's going to add to that area. And I believe when you see, and then the townhomes next to the Meyer, when you see that kind of redevelopment, that kind of millions of dollars invested into an intersection, it's going to improve stuff around it. We saw it a little bit when they did Livonia Marketplace, 7 Mile Middle Belt. You had a lot of dated strip centers, and a lot of them got a facelift after the Livonia Marketplace with the Kohl's and the Walmart and the other outlaw buildings were done. And we're eager to see Sears, something happen there at some point. And then, you got the Vassar building right there, that 8-story high building, and the city's had a tough time finding use for that through the years. So the hope is investment follows investment. And you're going to see some stuff that I can't get into right now, but some stuff along Plymouth Road that's going to get redeveloped. And then some other things going on. Right now, Bill Brown Ford is actually expanding. They bought the one property across for a big parking lot. They are building a new service center, and they're going to reutilize their current service center. That is the #1 Ford dealership in the country for the last few years. Wow. So Penske bought the family out a couple of years ago. And then additionally, they bought the old Burton Manor site and put a huge parking lot right there, a secured lot and stuff like that, because they were renting properties all over town to park their inventory. So they want to have a good inventory for their customers to move cars, stuff like that. And they're acquiring more land to do better with what they do.
All right, excellent. So, I mean, it seems like what we're kind of in the midst of is making sure that the maybe more experienced shopper folks are being taken care of with some of the old styles, but then how do we marry in kind of where the new commerce and new wants are heading at this point?
The one thing that I think probably your age and younger, Dave, that people are looking for is really walking, biking trails.
I can say that.
And the opportunities that I see in Livonia with Hines Park and Westland, there could be grant money available to tie bike trails between what Westland has, what Livonia has, to Hines, and I think that would be an attraction because there's economic development for younger people doing that all the time. My in-laws live in Marquette, Michigan, and Lake Superior helps there too, but they have bike trails and brew pubs, and people love that outdoor style. And if you look at anyone on a bike, they're generally smiling. You don't see a lot of grumpy people riding a bike. So it's just a good vibe, it's a good environment, something for the younger people to do. But even with electric bikes right now, people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s can ride a bike and just enjoy being outside, getting that fresh air, enjoying that vibe of being out and about in the community. And with our great park systems, with the county and the two cities, a lot of opportunity to enjoy the outdoors.
And maybe slow some traffic down too.
Yes, exactly. Give us a break on that. Yes.
So I guess from what I'm hearing, and you can kind of go into further detail, you would say that the 5-year kind of business projection in Livonia is looking pretty strong then.
We are in a great location. You know this in real estate's location. We are in a great location. We have great tax rates. City Hall has historically been very supportive of developers and moving it along and creating flexibility to make it work within the zoning laws and stuff like that. And then we are still the 8th largest city in Michigan. You look at the 2 freeways that come through here. So to me, it's just not the retail landscape. Obviously, people are always looking for homes and the townhomes, there's a demand for it. There is a demand to live here. It's just a matter of finding stuff for the young professional to come in, whether it be apartments, townhomes, or affordable ranches.
Well, and that's what we're seeing on the residential side is it is such a desirable place to live that we have not priced out all kind of first-time young professionals, but creating more options for them will be very important because one thing that we've certainly identified, once people move here, they don't tend to leave because they realize it's a great place to be, it's a great location. This is, if you could pick any business, could be specific or general, any business to come to Livonia, plant roots, and open up their shop, what would you most like to see?
One thing that I have tried to encourage in Livonia for a long time, most of my tenure in this job, and actually Schoolcraft Couch did eventually make it available, was that sports dome. I think we had spaces for large warehouse size, maybe repurposing an old manufacturing facility for indoor sports. Youth sports, I just read, is up to $40 billion a year in the United States.
Oh, it's real.
Youth sports,
yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of money, a lot of travel. We have the hotels, we have the restaurants, and to have that kind of capability and attract indoor volleyball tournaments, more of them. We already have some already, using the school district buildings and the football fields and the soccer fields. Livonia could be a wonderful hub. You put Livonia and Westland together, the I-275 communities, you can be a major attraction for youth sports tournaments. So I've always thought if we had more indoor for indoor softball and baseball, indoor football, lacrosse, soccer, particularly during the winter months, stuff like that. One, I think that'd be a draw to live here, but it'd definitely be an attraction to visit here and it'd draw a lot of money to our economy locally.
So for a business looking to come to Livonia and open up shop, what's one piece of advice you would give to that business owner or that team?
The thing I tell people all the time is that people don't do business with companies, they do business with people. And the thing about Livonia, we're an incredibly loyal place. So taking the time and energy to get out and about, go to things, go to sporting events, go to Art in the Park, or Music Under the Stars, go to the Livonia Spree, go to these types of things and become known and become involved. And where you can, I'm not saying you have to go broke to do this, but give gift certificates to what you offer or give some service to what you offer and build that connection. Once you build that connection with a Livonia resident, they'll come to you all the time. We have a lot of family-run small eateries in town, and they are a part of this community. And you see them all over the place, and that's why they thrive for years here. So the chamber gives you an opportunity to connect through networking events and informational events, and then to make introductions and to give you guidance on maybe where you can make some inroads for that. You can't go to one networking event and get a bunch of deals.
Right.
Believe me, we would charge a lot more for dues if that were the case. But the reality is, though, everything's about relationships, as it is in all aspects of life, really. you do business, especially when it comes to the sensitive stuff like law and financial planning and property management and these types of things, health. People want to look in the person's eyes and see if I believe this person or I trust this person. And so we at the Chamber give opportunities to make those connections.
I recently did a March Madness style pizza tasting video. Portnoy style, bite in the front, bite of the crust, totally blind. If you did a blind taste test, which pizza do you think you would pick as number one? These were locally owned shops, no big chains.
I do like the Two Guys in pizza at Farmington and 7 Mile. Their deep dish pizza when it's fresh. That's my go-to. That's my go-to.
Nice.
So that's what I dig.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
And if you've not seen that video yet, check out the channel and make sure you take a peek. Well, Dan, I really appreciate your time today and your expertise. And then quick plug, if you don't already, we'll put it in the comments, follow Cityscape, which Dan does with some local business leaders and businesses, and make sure you follow their social media to see grand openings. You're gonna learn a lot of cool things about the happenings in Livonia and then also Westland. So Dan, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, Dave, appreciate it.
Thank you so much for taking the time to watch today. And remember, if you're considering opening up a business in Livonia, join the Chamber. And as you're getting ready to, make sure to follow the Chamber online, check out Dan's Cityscapes, and be sure that you come to some events because it is a great way to be part of the fabric of this community.